Live from the EPB Fiber Optic Studio, this is WLND Signal Mountain, Chattanooga.
Health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and so much more. Welcome to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake, a production of Whitfield Media Group, with your hosts, Ed Jones, owner of Nutrition World, and Dr. Christopher Greene, board-certified medical doctor.
Good morning and welcome to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. Thank you for taking time on your Sunday morning to join us. We are a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I'm Ed Jones, owner of Nutrition World here in Chattanooga, and joining me is my partner in crime, Dr. Christopher Greene, board-certified medical doctor and chief of staff of CHI Memorial, Georgia. Good morning, Dr. Greene.
Good morning, Ed. Partners in crime. I like how you put that. Yeah, we have a lot of fun here. Hey, to all our listeners, just to remind you, I am a board-certified family medicine physician, and as Ed said, I am the chief of staff of CHI Memorial, Georgia. We greatly appreciate CHI's support of our show and their support of this community as well. So I've been practicing for a bit over 20 years. My primary practice is primary care, so I have other interests, which we shall not go into in this show. But anyone that wants to find me can easily find me through the CHI Memorial website. And Ed, why don't you tell me a little bit more about yourself and Nutrition World?
Thank you. And I actually am 60 years old right now. I've spent my entire life in the journey of learning holistic nutritional health, and I am the owner of Nutrition World on Lee Highway, which has now evolved into what we kind of consider more of a wellness complex, because we have so many practitioners and we involve any way we can to educate this community on optimizing their health in safe, effective ways. That's what we're about. So that's why I'm continually thrilled to look forward to this Sunday morning with you, because we are joining hands. Something I've almost did not believe could happen is occurring, which is mainstream medical is seeing that they have to be partnering with this whole new massive movement, which it truly is, about embracing the respect for the inherent God-given healing that was put into our physical being when we were born. And we want to, at least in the functional medicine holistic world, I want to help the physical body to be as healthy as it can. And to me, to do that, two things have to happen. You have to take away what's hurting it, like bad foods, lack of exercise, toxins in the diet, nutritional deficiencies. And then you have to supply the body with what it needs. And the word doctor is meaning teacher, and you are one of the people that I very much respect in this community that is still connected to mainstream, but you're a teacher. You are a guide for many people because you personally live the life. You're fit, you exercise. How many hours a week do you work?
I try not to count, Ed, so, it averages, I guess, 12 a day. I don't count the weekends when we're working together, so I honestly don't like to think about that. But, I have fun with what I do, so if we're enjoying, we've talked about, having a purpose in life, finding that purpose, accomplishing, what in my mind that God wants you to do. And so, yes, we can be tired, we can work too much, but if you are doing what you're called to do, I think that is much more important than counting the hours that you work. But I want to say thank you for what you said about the connection between, and I'll just call it functional medicine versus traditional. I think that's one of the most important things that you and I are doing is to show people, and that's both the lay public, the non-providers and the providers, whether they be on the side of, say, chiropractic or functional medicine or traditional medicine, whoever they are, that there is so much room for us to cooperate, not to fight against each other, but to work together for the health of the community, all of our patients, and we are not necessarily in worlds that are mutually exclusive. And I know you agree with that as well.
We're all about healthy living and enjoying life. Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake.
Welcome back, and thank you for making us a part of your day. If you're always on the move, download the free radio.com app to your smartphone or tablet and keep us tuned in each Sunday morning right here on 98.1 The Lake. We're a radio show that's all about your health, wellness, lifestyle, nutrition, and healthy living. I am Ed Jones, along with my good friend, Dr. Christopher Greene. Hello again, Dr. Greene.
Good morning again, Ed. You doing all right?
I'm doing well. Your pollen's a little bit heavy on me, but other than that, I'm perfect. We have a very exciting guest in right now. He actually has tapped into one of my old passions of life. We're going to be talking to Brian Brewer. He's from the Sports Barn. And welcome, Brian.
Hey, Ed, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And the topic is really, and when you hear it, don't just turn the radio off, because this is going to appeal or apply to any age. So don't think this is for 20-year-olds. It's boxing. But boxing has evolved now into something that has great promise for health and fitness. Not only that, it could certainly offer you a type of better way to be equipped if times ever come, or a circumstance where you needed to somewhat protect yourself or a loved one. And back in my day, one of the things that I fell into was boxing when I was about 40 years old. I actually had a little boxing gym in the back of Nutrition World, but I hired and his name has escaped me, but he was the middleweight champion of the world in kickboxing. And he still lives here, I think. And I saw him at the gym one day, and I said, will you teach me to box? Well, that was one of the best things I've ever done, and one of the most painful, because he really taught me how to box by creating pain. But it made me learn how to keep my hands up and how to suck it up and, to continue on. But tell us, Brian, what's going on now with the Sports Barn and this boxing program that you have?
Yes, sir. Well, actually, we launched it officially just after the first of the year. We're pretty excited about it. We have built a new dojo, and, of course, it has all of the things that you would imagine in a boxing gym. All of the heavy bags, different types of bags, speed bags, floor-to-ceiling bags, and, of course, the most important thing is the coaches and the folks that are working with you, the trainers. I guess boxing kind of I got started in it a few years ago. It found me. I didn't find it. But I had a daughter that had gotten sick. She fell ill, and it was pretty serious. She had cancer. So that was one of those things where I've worked out my whole life. Of course, I've been a trainer for almost 25 years, and you kind of find yourself as a parent just trying to figure out how you're going to deal with things. So I found myself in front of a heavy bag, and I started wailing on the heavy bag, and it felt a little better, and I thought, you know what, this might be part of my workout for now, especially with dealing with this type of stress. So that's how it came to me. Now, everybody has something they face, so boxing can certainly be a medicine and be a therapy for whatever it is that might be a fight in your life. But that's how I got started. Now, the Sports Barn actually goes way back with holding boxing events and all types of things. And, of course, Don Bowman is a big name that would be with that. But we've built this studio, and we are so excited because right now boxing is the thing. In the fitness world, if you look out there, there's tons of franchises that are being built around the boxing-style workouts. The HIIT-style workouts, which is high-intensity interval training, fits perfectly with the timed intervals that boxing presents. So we teach you the right way to box. We teach you the right equipment to purchase. And we go the next level. And this is something that I fell into recently, and that is USA Boxing Masters Division. I'm just turned 43 years old, and if you'd have told me that I'm going to be boxing this year in a ring and in a bout, I'd have said, you're crazy. But I'm doing it, and I'm excited. I'm in the best shape of my life. Everywhere I go, of course, everybody knows I'm a trainer. They say, well, how'd you drop 35, 40 pounds? well, this is how I did it, and I feel better than I ever have.
Wow, that's exciting. Have you boxed before, Dr. Greene?
I think that's the one exercise that I haven't tried. I think a lot of our listeners know, and Ed knows, Brian, that for me, fitness is an important part of my life, the exercise, going to the gym. We got there for different reasons. For me, originally started when I had to lose a whole lot of weight about 20 years ago. But I had been an athlete before I had gained weight, so it came fairly naturally. I loved how you mentioned the spiritual component in there, actually. So the listeners also know I preach Jesus a lot on this radio show. I preach that to my patients. But during that time of looking for spiritual health, spiritual peace, when I'm telling them to go to the gym, I try to explain that actually is a spiritual time for me. You mentioned wailing on the bag. You can do that with any sport, I think, that you decide to really pour yourself into. Now, boxing, though, I would say, despite the fact that I live at the gym for the most part, that sounds intimidating to me, as it probably does to a lot of our listeners. So if I live at a gym and it intimidates me, and I did some martial arts as a kid, I have a feeling it'll also intimidate the listeners. Could you give us an idea, if I wanted to go in as a beginner, what would you do for me?
Okay. I'm actually thinking of a couple of clients that I've recently worked with that's exactly the case. They came in, and again, the first thing is getting the right equipment, the right gloves, the right hand wraps, because we don't want any injuries, okay? So when we walk them in there, we teach them the simplest, which is you start with your jab, and you get your footwork down, and you get your balance, and you get your center of gravity. All of those things. Remember that boxing is a sweet science, and it goes along with exercise science, okay? So it's going to improve everything about them as far as their health and their fitness goes. So I would start off just teaching them the simple of punches, which would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6 punches, okay? If you learn that, you're ready to go for a class, whether you're in a group session or whether you're going to be in a one-on-one session. There's ways of teaching that and coaching that so that it becomes part of their interval training, and that instead of using a treadmill or a bike or something like that, they'd be over at that bag and they would begin working on their punches. So now here's the beauty of what we do. It's cross-training. So you might leave the bag, the big gloves come off, and you're on an abdominal exercise or you're lifting. We change the workout constantly, and we make sure that you are reaching different peaks in your output. And boxing is just a piece of that. Now, for those who decide, I want to take it a little further, then we absolutely do that. And I would certainly recommend going one-on-one with one of our trainers there and getting that coaching.
I love that because it brings back such great memories of when I was boxing, which was only about 2 years. I did get a black belt in karate back in my early 30s, and as good as that was, nothing in my whole life physically has compared to the overall fitness that I achieved through boxing, because it seems to bring in every aspect, from the timing to the speed to the strength to if you're crazy boxing like I did, the gutsiness, which, what you're doing is a new evolved cleaner type of boxing than the old days, where you did, you went into old gyms and you kind of got the crap beat out of you to learn. That's not how this works. You mentioned earlier there was a 63-year-old who, is part of this group who had some health concerns. This is going to appeal and apply to almost anyone who wants what I would call extreme or super fitness and fun, because I had a ball boxing.
Yeah, Ed, you're exactly right. If I can throw out a name on the air here, one of my clients and good friends is Lynn Gibson. Just a quick story about Lynn. He's pushing 60. He is a business entrepreneur. He's an outdoorsman. He's a grandfather. He has a very busy life. And he came to me and he said, I want to look like you look. And he says, what do I got to do to get there? And I said, well, let me tell you what changed and what my training is about. So when I told him it was boxing, he kind of scratched his head and said, okay, well, if that's what got you there, let's do it. So he started back in probably, I'd say, October of last year. Lynn went with me to a master's boxing clinic in January down in Atlanta. And this was if I can talk about this just for a second, this was a very eye-opening event. It was 3 days at Sweet Science Fitness down in Atlanta, and there were 30-something boxers from all over the United States, from the ranges of 40 to 60, 67 years old. Okay, what a great group of individuals to be around, and what a brotherhood it was. That was literally one of those events in your life that you just go, wow, I'm so glad I committed and went to that. So I had a couple of clients of mine that actually drove down and went with me, and Lynn was one of them. So here he is, first time ever in a boxing gym, and he is absolutely loving this. He's decided this is something he wants to do. So that leads me to talk a little bit about some of the things that's coming up. We just found out this past week that Chattanooga is going to host one of the largest Masters boxing events in October. So we're excited about that. I've got some clients that are going to be looking at possibly competing there, and as long as I'm healthy, I'll be there as well. So, but that just goes to show you. And Lynn is approaching exactly what his mission was. He wanted to change his body, and he's learned how to box. He's learned how to train the right way, and his nutrition has been the most important part of that. And
that's so exciting. Tell us, before we have to end here, if a person wants to start becoming involved in this right now, what would they need to do?
Okay. The first thing I would say is reach out to me, and you can do it by text. You can do it by email. If you text, it's 423-760-7581. I'll give you that number again. It's 423-760-7581. Or you can email me at brian.brewer7@gmail.com. We've got some great classes coming up at the Sports Barn that are going to be free for people to try out to see what this is going to be like. So those will be on March 31st, running all the way through May the 6th. So if you reach out to me through text, I'll give you more information about that, and we'll line you up as our guest.
Could they just call the Sports Barn on Lee Highway also?
Absolutely. They certainly could.
That's fantastic. Are you ready to box, Chris? Or?
Yeah, I may be joining Brian somewhere down the road. One medical question, probably for high-level boxing, you have to have medical clearance. If somebody wants to just come by to check you out or do a low-level class, is any medical clearance required?
Just whatever the Sports Barn requires, that's all we're going for right now, because everything is on the same par level as any other fitness program that you would start.
I hope that I don't know if I can add this into my protocol and plate because it's so full, but you will absolutely be seeing me at some point. I will assure you of that. I still, being the age that I am, I loved Muhammad Ali, the Thriller from Manila, and all those fights that just would break cold chills to my back to see somebody. That was the classic days of boxing to me, when everything in my world stopped to watch Muhammad Ali and Frazier and Foreman. I mean, they were the king to me. They were really an inspiration to me. And, boxing is and has been a dirty sport in many levels. But it sounds like we are evolving into just what it needs to be, the right sport for the right people, and it's clean and it's safe. Thank you very much, Brian, and thank you, Chris. And we'll be right back with more information on your health. This is Ed Jones and my co-host, Dr. Chris Greene. Thank you.
You're listening to Vital Health Radio, presented by CHI Memorial on 98.1 The Lake. We'll be back after these messages.